So I can't imagine what you've gone through is like. But I have to say I'm a bit surprised that after all you went through that you don't seem to have an idea that there may be some more gun control that we need to work on with stuff like this, with people who maybe shouldn't have access to them, and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm surprised that you don't feel that there's any more that we can do with gun control.
You know, right after I came back, and, 3.5 months later, I came back to Congress and got to go back to work again. And, people that would ask me, so are your views different on gun control or even on other issues? And, I've got deep-rooted conservative beliefs, but they're rooted in what the fundamental foundation of this country is based on. I mean, the Constitution was written initially, they didn't have a protection for guns because our founders just thought it was an assumed right. Later, they added it in the Bill of Rights as the Second Amendment, but they felt very strongly every American has the right to defend themselves. And if you look, there are bad people out there, whether they use guns or knives or bombs. There are a lot of laws on the books. If somebody goes and uses a gun to commit a crime, they've broken a series of laws to get there. And so let's enforce the laws better. And look, we found a lot of mental health problems. And there's usually a common thread in a lot of these shooters that they're mental health issues. We weren't closing a lot of those loopholes. We just passed some new laws, and they were very bipartisan, so they didn't get a lot of attention. But laws that help close a lot of those loopholes and coordinate a lot of the mental health problems in this country, so that if somebody does have serious mental illness, they're going to be taken care of in a better way. And obviously the laws that protect them along the way, too.
So I have a kind of a silly question that has to go with this also. So we talk about the founding fathers from time to time, because we have all these discussions about guns and gun laws, and I'm a gun owner. What do you think they were talking about? What kind of guns? Because it says if you're part of the militia, you have every right to carry arms. So what kind of guns do you think they were talking about? Do you think they were ever considering?
They had muskets back then, and that might have been considered a powerful weapon.
Right.
Today we laugh about some of that. But I mean, look, our founding fathers, what they really talked about was that people had a right to defend themselves. And they felt very strongly. It wasn't
just say militia.
But it wasn't just in the Supreme Court, by the way, answered this question a few years ago. There was a question of whether or not the militia only meant you have to be in the military to be able to own a gun, or can you own it individually? And it was a 5-4 decision, which is concerning. I mean, it should have been a 9-0 decision. But the Supreme Court said very clearly, you can own a gun, not just as a member of the military, but also individually to protect yourself. And so that is what the true meaning of the Second Amendment is. And again, go back and read what our founders talked about before they wrote the Constitution. This was a fundamental belief.
Okay. We may never agree on
it. But it's important that, we have this debate. Yes. And, you could talk about the muskets and what they did. They didn't have, airplanes and things that you can do to deliver bombs today.
Yeah.
Allow us to deliver weapons in different ways.